AMC's pompous theater ad is getting a sequel as trailers for both the Weird Al Yankovic movie and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey hit the internet. I'm Darius Delsoin.
And I'm Joe Acierno. This is Cinema Unchained. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the one and only Cinema Unchained podcast. Now, before we get into the sequel that's been announced to that iconic AMC movie theater ad, if you want more honest and fun and engaging talks about movies, TV, and everything in between, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notifications for all new updates, whether you're on YouTube or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Now, before we talk about the trailer for Weird, the Al Yankovic story, for anyone that goes to AMC theaters, right, you notice there's like this little overly dramatic ad that shows a Nicole Kidman going into a movie theater, watching a movie or like a bunch of movies, and just like basically talking about like, how great the movie theaters are. And I remember when like we first saw this ad, because this came out in like the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Because theaters were having a very hard time. Like now that people were starting to go back, like theaters were starting to come back. So of course, like this ad, it seemed like was basically being put out there to celebrate that. And as someone who loves going to the movies and thinks that you can't really replace the movie theater experience, I really did appreciate that little presentation there. However, I'm just at the point where I've seen this ad so many times. It just feels like so like self-aggrandizing and like so overly dramatic. Like I think the last time, Darius, you might have been with me the last time that I went to see a movie in the theaters at AMC. I'm like, they have to get rid of this ad. They really have to get rid of this ad. It just sucks up time. You think you're about to watch the movie, you're like, oh, nope, another 2 minutes of this dramatic bullshit. And it's like, what? We get it. The movie theater industry almost died during the COVID-19 pandemic. Like so many other industries that had an issue during the COVID-19 pandemic. Stop jerking yourselves off. Just move forward, okay? Instead of putting out like these stupid freaking ads to basically, again, like, jerk yourself off, focus on making and presenting quality films that will actually bring people back to the movies. That's just a novel idea. But then, of course, why would they ever go with just that? They're going to actually just do another one of these with Nicole Kidman and the same screenwriter, Billy Ray, who, ironically enough, wrote the script for Captain Phillips. He's done like a bunch of other things as well. But yeah, Darius, when you told me that this is happening, I just could not believe what I was hearing.
Yeah, there's always like all the time when we go to the theater and whatever, we always see that ad. And one of our other friends who normally comes with us, one of the comments he always makes, and I find hysterical, is your timing's off. Because
he's always saying the lights, when the lights begin to dim, and like the movie theater like never dims the lights. Like when the lights begin to dim.
But yeah, I think obviously beginning of COVID, all of that happening for the movie theater, understandable. But now you got to take that off. Now it doesn't feel as genuine, I guess, as last time or whatever. But again, ads aren't really genuine in general, but that's a whole other thing. But like, it feels weird now, and it adds more to the movie going experience, because now it's like, all right, first it was 30 minutes of, let's say, trailers, right? Movie doesn't start at 7, starts at 7:30 or whatever, and now it's just like, now we're getting a bit of this. It's like, at that point, I just want to see my movie.
Yeah.
I'm at AMC. You don't need to tell me this is a great experience or whatever at AMC when I literally just gave you my money. Like, no, let's keep it, like, just play the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's coming from someone, like, a lot of people complain about, there being too many previews, right? Like, I honestly love, sitting through 20 minutes of previews, because I like getting excited and like, and like finding out what else is coming out, like how it all looks. I generally enjoy that. Like, I do try to be on time to the movies to at least see some of the previews. Mm-hmm. But then, you throw in this ad after, and it's just like, let's just pick up the pace already. This isn't necessary.
Exactly.
This isn't necessary anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going in the complete opposite direction of what makes sense to actually go in. You know what I mean? Like, why are you, if anything, you should be just like getting rid of this ad in general. Don't make a sequel. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I feel unless I don't know. I don't even know. I can't even justify the sequel to the ad, another commercial. I can't. At this point, it's just like, yo, just take that stuff out already. Like, don't keep it in. People are already just want to see the movie. I just want to see the movie. Even last night, it's just take it out. That's all I gotta say. Just take it out, because at this point, for me at least, I'm getting tired of it. It's always getting annoying. And even when I'm out with friends, one of our friends, he always makes that comment. So it's just like, I want it to be gone just so he can stop making that comment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like not for nothing too. Like I remember when you told me that this is happening, like I'm I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, this kind of sounds like the thing, like the sort of headline that would be like a satire headline that you'd find on like, The Onion or Babylon Bee. Like, no, this is a real thing that's happening, everybody. This is actually happening. Like they're literally making a sequel to a movie theater ad, to an interior movie theater chain ad. I mean, I just don't get it. And I know like companies like, of course, like, they do ads, like more ads, like, certain characters and trademarks, everything like that. But it just feels off. It just feels really weird. It's just annoying. It's just really annoying at this point.
Yeah, the world has gone crazy, Joe. I don't know what to say about this AMC ad other than this feels weird. I don't get it, because people are already at your theater chain watching it. You don't need to keep flaunting it. At least that's just a bit of my perspective. But
yeah,
maybe it will be a better one. Do you think it will be better?
Well, well, number one, you're already setting the bar pretty low. That's number one. Number two, like, what else could you possibly do to, quote, celebrate coming to the movies? Like, oh, come to the movies. We're going to show someone watching a movie in the movie theater. Like, what else could you possibly do? That's just not just going to be like, a slightly different version of that first ad. Maybe I'm just a cynic at heart, but I just don't see what they could possibly do.
We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this feels weird because I don't like that commercial now. So more incoming, unfortunately.
Yeah. So for all of you, what are your thoughts on this new development? Are Darius and I just like being a little too dramatic with this because it's just like a movie theater ad, or are you do you get like as annoyed as we do every time we have to watch this anytime we go to the AMC theaters? Leave your thoughts wherever it is that you can. All right, and now before we get into the trailer for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, can't believe that just came out of my mouth. Another like more full-length trailer was released for Weird, the Al Yankovic story. And of course, this follows, I guess, like the life and times of the one and only Weird Al Yankovic. And at least that's what you would think. Now, I read on Wikipedia, take this with a grain of salt, but apparently this is a parody of the biopic genre. And that it intentionally exaggerates and fabricates the life story of, or certain aspects of the life story of Weird Al Yankovic for comedic effect. I didn't know that until maybe a few minutes ago. And it just makes me think, it being a parody of the biopic genre, because how did Weird Al Yankovic make his living? What was his claim to fame? Parodying famous music. So I think a parody of the biopic genre, and that it like twists certain things around again to, for comedic effect, I think that could be really interesting if that actually is the case. Again, I'm looking at this from Wikipedia, so take this like I said, with a grain of salt. But I don't know. Like I feel like I was looking for like that sort of element that could possibly make this, differentiate itself from like other biopic films too. And then I read that, I'm like, huh. I didn't get that vibe from the trailer, but knowing Weird Al and everything like that, like, it makes sense, and I feel like it could fit really, really well with someone like him.
Yeah, that's genius, in my opinion, because, as you mentioned, the character of Weird Al, he parodies, other music and everything. So it's like, I think this is an amazing move for this movie. And it's funny you say that, because I got that feeling watching the trailer. I got the feeling that this felt like almost a much more over the top sort of biopic of his life, and a part of me was like, is this kind of a parody? Or they're making it a parody off of other biopics for the sake of Weird Al? Because to me, it makes sense. That's an amazing move. That's a great another creative outlet and usage they can use for this person, for his life, and I think it makes sense, and I love it. And this trailer actually has me really excited for the movie. I really do want to see it. And I think Daniel Radcliffe is great. You can tell he has come a long way in his acting as well, and I think this is going to be a really solid role for him actually.
Yeah, he's going to have Harry Potter, and now he will more than likely have Weird Al Yankovic as like his two, biggest selling roles. I feel like there comes a point where, like, in the careers of like most performers, like, okay, like, playing like a famous person is kind of like a milestone for most people, right? And like Daniel Radcliffe, it's nice to see him achieve another milestone in his career. Because again, as someone who's a diehard Harry Potter fan, always loved his performance in those movies, like as he grew and like the character grew and everything like that. Watching him grow that much more in terms of his performances, I think that's something really cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this movie looks good. I think Daniel Radcliffe looks good. Is that who I think it is as well in the movie from The Office?
Yep, that's Rainn Wilson, Dwight from The Office. He's Dr. Demento.
I love that.
He's like, I didn't know that he was going to be in this movie before I watched the trailer. So like, I'm seeing him. I'm like, he's like dressed up like like a magician or whatever. And I'm like, is that Dwight from The Office? I'm like, holy shit, that's Dwight. That's really great too. And like, I want to see how both him and Daniel Radcliffe like bounce off each other. That's a duo I never would have expected. I never would have really, I guess, craved to watch. But now that I see the two of them, like that they're going to be in this movie, like that makes me want to see the movie that much more. I really wonder like what kind of on-screen chemistry they're going to have and what they're going to be able to do together.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like for a part of me feels as if it's going to be really good. I was already sold on kind of that chemistry, and again, seeing him in this movie, oh man, like I said, I'm actually pretty excited for this movie. I didn't expect myself to be because Weird Al, but it looks interesting. It looks interesting, and I really want to see it now.
Yeah, same here, and I'm sure there's like a good bit of there's probably going to be a nice theme here saying like oh, no matter how weird you are, be true to yourself, like that sort of thing. Which again, like maybe we've heard it before, but like with like a lot of these like different story beats, not necessarily like what the story beat is. It's how you go about telling that story beat. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I feel like considering the fact that Weird Al Yankovic actually helped co-write the script, I feel like that since it's coming at least from him, it'll feel different somehow. So yeah, like I said in the last episode, and I'll say this again, like with most of the things that we talk about in the show, we'll just have to wait and see. This film does premiere on November 4th, and for all of you, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Weird Al Yankovic movie? Are you excited? Do you actually still care? Like, again, what are your thoughts? And please, whatever your thoughts are, just leave them in whatever comment section that you can. And now, to cap off the show, I think this probably is going to be a bit of a leaner show today. We're going to talk about the newly released trailer for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Wow. Like I said, this is a real thing that's happening. So this is basically an upcoming horror film based on the beloved the beloved characters of Winnie the Pooh that I think was a big staple in many people's childhoods as they were growing up. If you really think about like the central storyline of the film, like it's funny and fucked up at the same time, at least to me. So after Christopher Robin abandons Winnie the Pooh and Piglet to go to college as he grows up, the two become savage animals and go on a rampage. And of course, things really, start to go when Christopher Robin like comes back with like, his either fiance or, new wife to introduce him to, or introduce her to Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. And as this happens too, like, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet like go on like like I said, like a bloodthirsty rampage. Like, they torment like a group of university girls as they're like staying out in a rural cabin. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I couldn't believe what I was watching as I was watching it.
Yeah, I feel very. I don't know about this movie. I guess a part of me, I was interested, but I didn't expect the direction to go, for them to go in, where it's basically, it feels like a slasher movie.
It is.
Which I don't mind slasher movies. That's not the problem. The problem I have is I did not expect Winnie the Pooh and Piglet to be, or at
animals.
least that you see the mask of them on a human body. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Oh, you're saying like that kind of looks like a little too like fake or like a little like kind of like low production quality?
Yeah, a mixture of fake, a bit cheesy, a bit like I guess a part of me expected to see maybe an actual like the Winnie the Pooh like doll animated like Ted, and see that go on a rampage.
Or Chucky.
Yeah, like that would have. I think to me that would have been more interesting instead of another Jason, essentially, or
yeah, it's like if Winnie the Pooh and Michael Myers had a fucked up baby. Like, that's what this would look like, basically.
Yeah, and I guess that threw me off a bit. And I'm very mixed on it. And it's stupid, but I wish it amplified the stupidness as to what I was saying with the whole, I wish it was actual Winnie the Pooh, like, doll sort of thing, like Ted. And you just see, like, that little thing just hopping around, killing people.
Here's the thing. I feel like if you're gonna go for like that really scary horror element, I feel like it'd be scarier to have like a full-sized Winnie the Pooh bear. You know what I mean? And same thing with Piglet. Like, I feel like the animals should be, like quote life size in order to make that scarier. But like the thing that just gets me about this is how they're able to do this now. Because again, does anyone really think that this would happen without Disney's approval? No, of course not. But here's the thing. Disney's approval no longer matters because their trademark came to an end as the original novel, the original book, went into public domain in January of this year. So now that it's in public domain, anybody can do whatever they want with this.
Yeah, I guess this is what we got.
Yep. I'm just like, wow, I guess... oh my god. I can't help but think of that line from Jurassic Park, when Ian Malcolm is talking with John Hammond and, Donald Gennaro, the lawyer, because they're, John and the lawyer are trying to make the case for the park. And Ian Malcolm basically says something along the lines of like how they were all so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel about this. I'm not opposed to like people like trying different things or like, different, IPs and franchises and characters and everything like that. But, Winnie the Pooh is like synonymous with like childhood innocence.
Yep.
And, I remember after watching this trailer, like the first thing I thought to myself was, oh my God, I have to watch the first Winnie the Pooh. Like I'm like, this just feels weird. So, oh my goodness. I can't believe, like, could you have ever possibly imagined that something like this would ever come out?
Yeah, like I said, this is very unexpected. Again, like you said, Winnie the Pooh is synonymous with, kids and childhood, and for this to have a horror, honestly, I think, is it odd right now? I think yes, to a certain degree. However, I think it opens the doors to other childhood stories and twists that we can put out there in a rated R setting.
Okay, so off the top of your head, what would you like to see get the rated R treatment from your childhood?
Santa Claus. A bit of Santa Claus and a bit of maybe Easter Bunny.
Have you ever watched Bad Santa?
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say,
But-
like, if you haven't, you should watch Bad
But
Santa.
I want more. I want something really like I already have an idea. That's the thing. But again, it's interesting because now it's like you're letting people know we're willing to tell these type of stories to the things you thought were, fun and innocent. And now, not so much. So I do appreciate that because it does open the doors for other, I guess, these other childhood stories to give them a mature rated R setting. So with that in mind, there's potential to maybe other stuff happening to get that treatment, I guess.
Yeah. So all in all, I as ridiculous as all this seems, the movie, if you ask me, the movie actually does look pretty scary, and I feel like it could be pretty scary and like gruesome and everything like that. I do feel like as a horror film, maybe there's some potential. I don't know, like if you can get past like the low production quality and everything like that, maybe there's something there that could be worth watching it and be memorable. But I'm still in shock and awe of like this happening, not just being like like a fan-made trailer or anything like that. Like, no, like I said, this is a real thing that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it consistently blows my mind.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Man, what a title, too.
Right? Winnie the Pooh has taken a dark turn. My goodness. Oh, boy.
Man, this is what happens when you eat too much honey, man.
Yep. It's all in the honey. It's all in the honey.
And poor Piglet, he brought Piglet with him.
Yeah, he brought Piglet with him, which, all right, not for nothing, right? Like, okay, Winnie the Pooh has turned into this savage animal, right? So another thing that I read on, like, the quote Wikipedia, the Wikipedia page for the film was that, like, okay, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet have both turned into, like, savage feral animals and have led in, like, and it's led to, like, Eeyore or the other animals, like, either getting killed or, like, eaten or something like that. Okay, Winnie the Pooh is a bear. Piglet is literally a piglet.
Yeah.
And if Winnie the Pooh bear turns into this savage animal, wouldn't Piglet be the first one to go? He's literally like a baby pig. Wait a minute.
The animal
am I wrong?
The animal kingdom has turned its head.
Yeah. And I feel like not for nothing, like if all the animals went savage, Pooh and Tigger would be the only ones left. Everybody would be gone. Eeyore, he'd be gone. Piglet would be gone. The rabbit would be gone. They'd all be gone.
Oh man!
I feel like that would be like a great twist. Like the big bad at the end. Like Tigger comes out of nowhere and he just like fucks up Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, and like everyone's just like Tigger saves it. Like no, and then Tigger just like goes after them next.
Oh my! No, my childhood's ruined. Oh man, but yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see how this all unfolds, how this works. Because, like I said, from the trailer, I'm a bit mixed. I'm a bit like, all right, this looks weird. I don't know how I feel, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like this could go either way. Like, I don't think this will be spectacular, but I feel like at most this could be like, oh wow, that's better than expected. Oh, that was fucked up and weird, and I feel like it'll stand out in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but then, like, at the very worst, it could be like, yeah, this is terrible. This is just an absolute dumpster fire of a movie.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see for this one.
Yeah. So for all of you, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Does this mess up your childhood in any way, shape or form? Are you actually going to be able to sit through this? Leave your thoughts wherever it is that you can. And just like that, that's all we have for you today. And just a heads up, we will not have a new episode next week, so tune in the week after. And as far as what exactly we'll be talking about on that particular episode, stay tuned, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.